Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car. Roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right? I want a man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
Is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Welcome to Auto Off Topic. What's going on, Brad?
Andrew? Not a lot. Yourself?
Oh, not too much.
Good. Podcast over.
Yeah, let's call it a quits.
That's a wrap. Episode 300 and some odd something. Oh, anyway.
Yeah, episode blank.
It's a little weird.
3 blank
because
blank.
we just recorded Friday night and it's only Wednesday, so I guess it's almost been a full week. Doesn't feel like it.
We're trying to get back on schedule because clearly when I'm too tired, I do not edit it properly, and I think I left like 15 minutes of dead air.
Fine.
So
sometimes 15 minutes of dead air is 15 better than 15 minutes of us talking.
You gotta wait. The end of it is the secret track. Not really.
Yes, but only if you listen and not if you fast forward.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh well.
Well, I just finished doing my favorite thing because we're going to play Greg Don't Tell Me, I think, today. And my favorite thing is looking at the garbage that I can buy on Craigslist for the game. So.
Yeah. I mean, you've been looking, just in Phoenix? I've been looking in just Boston. There's actually some cool stuff for sale.
Yeah, keeping it local. Just deciding I need to sell some stuff to buy some stuff, but also I shouldn't look at Craigslist because a couple cars in here that I kind of already want to buy. So.
Yeah, I'm still holding out for my Volvo.
That's good. I'm actually irritated with car sales lately anyway.
They're very expensive.
Not even just very expensive. Just people, everybody thinks that they're a car flipper now. And it's like the car hobby has made this weird switch where people aren't even like enthusiastic about the car they have. They're just enthusiastic about how quickly they can throw a quick paint job on it and sell it.
Yep. I mean, this is what happens when all of the reality TV show about cars is about that.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's the same thing that happened with, it's partially to blame with housing because all of the housing shows are flipping shows.
Yeah.
So what do you think happens? People think they can go out and be flippers. So people do it.
But they don't have the history. They don't have the history channel to pay the bills and it doesn't sell properly and they lose their shirts every time and ruin it for other people. So
yeah, I don't know.
It's just irritating because you see all these cars. It's like one owner until June of 2023. And then, now it's $17,000 and has a custom set of wheels and tires. And it's like, what? Why didn't you just enjoy it? Or did you, or everybody buy it thinking they're going to love old car life and they hate old car life? Like what is really happening? I don't know, but it's just frustrating. And listen, I'm not anti somebody, getting a car out, putting some improvements into it and making it right again. There's a market out there for turnkey cars, but it just seems that the level of effort is just non-existent.
For the right car.
What's that?
For the right car. I saved a car from the salvage yard and I lost my shirt on it. So
right. That's what I'm saying. I'm not anti it, and yeah, you're not going to make money every time, but I'm okay with somebody going and saying like, let's use an easy car for an example, like an MGB. Like they sell all the time, but there are tons of people out there who would probably like to own an MG but can't save one out of a garage and get it running and make it work. So if somebody buys that, puts a real honest effort into it to make it a nice, good, drivable car, and then they enjoy the project, they enjoy moving it on, and they do the proper stuff to do it, that's cool. But what's happening is the guy's taking it out of his garage where he scores it for $1,000 and then immediately listing it for $5,000. And like that's what all of Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace seems to be now, is just these flipper cars that don't actually even do any work to the car. Like, people got to call me a hypocrite probably because I did this for a little bit as a business, but I wasn't just flipping cars. I was buying cars, and the intention was to restore them to a level to make them usable so that somebody else who didn't have that skill set could enjoy it. And it just seems like that part of the process is lost, and you just get these garbage cars for way too much money that they didn't buy it for that. Nobody bought that non-running MGB for $5,000 from a garage. They paid $800 for it.
Well, that's my complaint about overpriced K cars. Or especially the trucks.
The K truck, like
they are literally Japanese throwaway.
Yeah.
Yes, they're literally throwaway vehicles in Japan. They're being thrown away.
Yeah, $800, like I said.
People import them for super cheap, and then mark them really high up because other people are silly enough to buy them.
Yep. And who do we blame here?
Please, if you want a K truck,
import it yourself.
Yeah, import it yourself.
Do we blame the buyer,
Don't
the seller? Who do we blame on this? The whole system, the internet, Instagram, Facebook. What is it?
I guess I'm blaming the importers the importer dealers, I guess, that are marking them way up, and then people buying it thinking it's too hard to import something yourself. I don't know.
Well, it's not easy to import something yourself. That is true, because there's a lot of paperwork.
It's not. You need a broker, but it would still be less than going through one of those dealers.
It's especially not easy right now because they're all going to get stuck in Maryland. So,
yeah, I thought a lot of them came in through New Jersey. For the
Maryland is the largest automotive port on the East Coast.
Yes, I learned that this week because of all the stuff that happened there. I was
talking to Naomi's brother this morning. He actually is an over-the-road trucker who drives a car hauler all over the country. And he actually drives over that bridge, or drove over that bridge all the time. His coworker drove over the bridge at midnight that night. Yeah, or 11:30 or midnight, whatever he said. But yeah, so
I mean, there was in the video you can see a semi just gets over it, and like a car behind it.
Yeah, and there were some cars. Unfortunately, it sounds like they did not. But
it sounds like there were not any.
There were no cars on it,
or at least no people in the cars.
Just the
only people that they've lost were the
workers,
the construction crew.
Well, it's a good thing it happened the time it happened then, instead of 8 a.m.
Well, did you? Well, yes, but they also did. You hear that because they sent out the Mayday call, the police were alert enough that they stopped traffic.
Oh, okay. I had not heard that yet.
That's why there was not any traffic on the bridge. They literally went out and stopped traffic.
So heads up,
because they were like, they're like, we think we're gonna hit the bridge.
Good. Well, that's excellent then. So good for them. They tried the best they could. But anyway, we went way off topic there. I'm mad about car flippers, and we went to bridge collapse. So
yeah. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we can talk about how importing cars. I mean, I saw some numbers, like I think Mitsubishi was like third. That's where a lot of Mitsubishis come in
through Maryland.
I think Mazda was number one through that port. Subaru's up there. It's it's a human tragedy, and then it's going to be, there's a lot of ripple effects.
Well, the other problem is that anything there is now pretty much locked in place. There's only
unless it's been unloaded.
Even if the boats can't go anywhere right now. They're stuck there until the debris gets cleaned up. But
there must be another way in and out of the port.
There's only one other way in and out of the port. But the problem is it's a tunnel. So a lot of vehicles, oversized vehicles, can't fit through the tunnel. So a lot of like heavy duty construction equipment and oversized loads also goes through that port and can't get through that tunnel to get out of it.
Oh my gosh.
So if you bought like, I don't know, a Komatsu, back end loader or something that is taller than a normal trailer,
Yeah.
It's going to be stuck there until they have a bridge again, or until the bridge debris is cleaned up and they get other ships in there to take it out of that port and bring it down to, the New Jersey port or bring it up to New Jersey or however. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know how big that tunnel is. I don't know if a normal
I'm
semi
sure they'll
can
figure
fit or
something
not,
out.
But
I mean, maybe they'll bring in like the Army Corps of Engineers and they'll build like a floating bridge or something.
yeah, they'll do something. I mean, the government's already promised, the federal government's already promised, to foot the bill for fixing this, because I'm sure it's probably out of Maryland's budget for the year. So they've already said they're going to take care of that. So,
well, I'm sure, these shipping companies carry massive insurance policies. So,
I guarantee
will
some
come
of that
from
will
there
come from
eventually.
the boat that hit it as well. Yes, there is no question. But yeah, I was reading something about the kinetic energy that boat would have had hitting that bridge and like how it collapsed. It's like somewhere between 750 million foot-pounds,
Yeah,
and 900 million foot-pounds, with the estimation of how much the ship
Yeah.
weighed, and if it was moving at like 7 knots or whatever. Like 700 million foot-pounds is like 3 Dodge Ram diesels. So that's enough to take down a bridge. But
yeah, but I thought a lot more stuff came through New Jersey. Like I saw Subaru America was on there. I was like, oh, that's surprising. I thought literally a lot of stuff came through New Jersey because a lot of the headquarters for vehicle manufacturers are
Sure.
in New Jersey.
that's probably just close proximity to New York, right? For the headquarters.
Yeah, I don't. There's also right in Boston they dump Subarus on the under the Tobin
Yeah, I
Bridge.
know under the
There's
Tobin
docks
Bridge is a
under there.
bunch of Subarus and Volkswagens and Audis. I don't know what else goes
Mhm.
there. But I know a lot of the...
Yeah, because every once in a while you'll see because the car carrier ships are different because they drive on and
Yeah,
off.
I know a lot of the JDM import guys. They go to New Jersey for sure. So
Yeah.
But anyway,
Well, it's interesting because speaking of importing, so you can do importing in certain ways, right? There's roll on,
Yep.
roll off, and then there's container
Yep.
shipping. Container shipping feels a little sketchy, right?
So it feels sketchy, but most of the big importers do container shipping because they can ship 4 cars for what it costs to ship 1 car roll on, roll off. So that's
because the car doesn't have to be driven on and
Correct.
off the vehicle, on and off the boat.
The problem is how they're loaded in those containers is like strung from the ceiling with chains, and just it looks sketchy, but apparently the people in Japan who load them know what they're doing because they seem to make it just fine.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that's crazy, right? Is that when you see that ship with all those containers on there, we're talking about this in the Discord, those are like 40-foot containers. Those are basically a bunch of semi-trucks sitting on top of that ship.
Sure.
Like, that's how big the thing is.
There's a combination of 40-foot and 53-foot containers. So, yeah, it's
I think so,
wild.
yeah. It's just a standard size.
Anyway. So yeah, stop flipping cars without making any effort. If you want to flip some cars, put some effort into it. Get rid of the 40-year-old tires. Make it at least attempt to run. Make it roll. Put a battery in it. Do something. Like, don't just put it outside, not even wash it, and don't do anything else. But anyway, what do I know?
I don't know. What
Not
do you
much.
know?
Not much. I think I've probably proven that over the past 7 years of this podcast.
Have you done any car stuff?
Oh, let me think back. I attempted to do car stuff, but I was foiled by the Arizona Desert Curse.
Oh.
Yeah, another dead battery.
How'd you get some battery tenders, man?
I have a battery tender, and I run them in... I have 3 battery tenders, and I run them on all the cars at varying intervals. However, unfortunately, because of the heat cycles in the desert, batteries just don't last forever, and sometimes they just die, whether they're being intended to or not.
Oh.
So I look at the date on the battery. It was put on the car in 2018. So
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
pretty old
6-year-old
actually.
battery. It was put in the beginning of 2018. So
Yeah, that's actually really old.
and
for
that's a desert battery its whole life. That's a battery in the 944, and it was in Reno, Nevada, which is desert, and it was down here, which is desert. So that battery has lasted probably longer than I would think it would. So I was annoyed, but I didn't want to push the car because once you push the car out of the driveway, then you got to push it back in the driveway, and it's not impossible to push, but also it's not like the Corolla or a Colt. Like it's a much more substantial vehicle with not a lot of good push points on it either because it's all sheet metal. So I have not moved it. My intention is to move it so that I can get the Mercor out because that we'll be going to the Koyosha Club show this weekend. So
Yeah,
that is the plan.
I've got the battery in the Galant is from 2011.
But that's New England. Batteries seem to last much longer there. Plus, it's probably on a tender as well, right?
Yeah.
So that helps. But I don't know. I'll figure it out. Batteries are expensive, which is annoying when you have a lot of cars because if they only last 4 or 5 years at $100 to $200 a piece now, that's an expensive bill. So you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Battery tenders do help, and I do.
They're cheaper than.
Yeah, actually, the Battery Tender Junior it's designed for power sports.
Battery Tender Junior, no. Yeah.
It's designed for power sports, but works really good on car batteries to maintain them. It just won't charge one from dead.
Well, yeah, that's also not good for batteries when they go completely flat.
Correct.
That damages them over
Which
time.
actually makes me even more surprised that this Porsche battery has lasted as long as it has because there was a current draw in the car when I got it. The battery was dying every 3 days. And is that same battery? So
And we've talked about how, I haven't had to buy a battery in like 2 years now, but like from like 2020 till at least like 22, batteries were like super expensive and also not lasting very long.
They're still super expensive.
Like failing under warranty.
You can get a battery for about $100 now, depending on what car you're getting it for. I just bought a battery for the Starion last week because that car had been sitting with no battery in it for a while, and I think I paid $109 for that battery.
I've said this before. That's honestly my biggest gripe about expensive car parts is how expensive batteries got.
Yeah, batteries used to be $39.99.
Everything else doesn't feel super expensive for the old cars, but yeah, it went from like, a battery was like, I remember initially getting one for the Talon at Sears in like 2001, and maybe it was like $80 or something, which felt very expensive for then. It kind of was.
Yeah, but no, 50 to 80 used to be the range for a battery.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then they went to like 100, like 120, and now some of them are like 150.
Some of them are more than that. I think when I put a battery in the Volkswagen, it was 189. So it's annoying. It is what it is. It's all part of the game, I guess. The dumb car game. So anyway, I haven't done any good
game.
Any good project car stuff. I did we had a couple of events last weekend. I went to the Tempe Beach Concourse. And I guess we could make this a full gripe session episode.
Go for it. What do you got?
The word concourse.
Is a concourse.
The word concourse. It implies something, right?
Yeah, you could be like at the airport, and that's the concourse.
Sure. The word concourse.
That sounds like where you went. They had the wrong meaning.
Yeah, the word concourse.
Like the mall.
The word concourse at a car show implies something. It implies.
I believe you're pronouncing it incorrectly when it's Concours d'Elegance is what you're looking for. And they were like, concourse. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so let me rephrase that. The Tempe Beach, the Tempe Town Lake Beach, whatever it's private, the Tempe Beach Concours was not that. The issue with that name is that some people clearly thought it was that. And there were a couple of vehicles there that were worthy of a Concours. The problem is 99.9% of all the other cars that were there, I wouldn't have gone to a around the corner Tuesday night drive-in show to look at. So it was quite disappointing. And this is at no fault of the guy who runs the event. He wants to put on a really good car show, and he has a really good location. It's a public park on the side of the lake in Tempe. It's very pretty. It has the potential. I went last year, and I put a car in it last year, and it was a good time. There was a few of these. I hesitate to call them show cars because in my mind they're not show cars, but that's just me being old man, maybe. Old man yells at cloud. But these are the typical Mopar enthusiasts that have full vinyl wraps that are dedicated to some superhero with Lamborghini doors and big radios and red, green, blue RGB lights. Just definitely not my scene. Car show boards in front of all of them explaining all their mods, which are all stickers and eBay parts. It was all that. Whether it was a Charger or a Challenger, a Durango or Corvette or Mustang or the import ones, they were Japanese cars too that had the same kind of treatment. And it's obviously not our scene. And I don't think it's the scene of anybody who listens to this show, so I don't feel too bad mentioning it. There were maybe 3 or 4 cars at the whole show that I would like look at and be like, yeah, this is a car that I'm happy to see here at this event. Everything else just could have been left somewhere else. There was even a guy who was, you could bring him your car and he would do like an art car to it right there. Which sounds bad and is bad. So I did take a picture of that in process. So I could share it. I haven't shared it yet. He basically had an easy up set up and he would cover the car, the headlights and windows and tires in newspaper and was using aerosol cans to art car people's cars.
Wait, what? I thought you were like painting pictures.
No,
of
he was
cars.
full on painting cars at the park.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
odd.
very odd. Very odd.
Like with real spray
full
paint.
on aerosol cans of actual spray paint. Now they had him far enough away from all the other cars that they wouldn't be overspray at least, but still, it was an odd thing. Yeah.
Weird. That's like almost like getting a tattoo on a whim. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong on whose cars were being sprayed, but that's certainly what it felt like. So I don't know why else you'd have this set up. I didn't go too close because A, I didn't want it covered in the spray paint because it was very windy. And B, I guess I'm a snot because I didn't want to be seen paying too much attention to it because it seemed odd to me. So yeah, it was strange. I also don't understand the making a livery for your car that is not a true motorsports livery and branding it with actual products that aren't paying you to brand your car with them. Like there was one Ford Focus RS there, or ST, excuse me, that was red. So of course he branded it in a full Milwaukee Tools wrap. With no...
People do like Milwaukee Tools.
I guess. Maybe put like a Milwaukee sticker on your window if you like Milwaukee Tools that much. I don't know. I'm being harsh and judgmental and not respecting all builds, but that is my right as a human being with eyes. So yeah, it was not good. It was overall not good. So there was a couple cool things. I'm glad I didn't pay to go see it. The biggest problem was that all of the good stuff that was there last year wasn't there this year, probably because they didn't like to be mixed in and amongst all of the bad stuff that was there. And the bad stuff was there in like extra force. The people who run the show teamed up with this, I guess it's an event promoter called Modded Culture, which I think was where the disconnect happened and where it became full of vinyl wrap show cars versus cars that you'd see at a event called a Concours. So it was not a Concours d'Elegance. It wasn't even a Concours de Le Mans. It was a Concours of poor taste. So
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, hey, that's their thing. That's their thing. It just means that I'm not going to go next year. So there was a parking lot right there, which is run by the town, and the town decided to charge $20 to park in its parking lot. So I drove down the street and had to walk a half a mile, but I didn't support the show at all this year, other than going. And may not even attempt to go next year. We shall see. So,
All right.
is
Was there
is
any
what it is.
other
There was a really
decent
nice
shows?
first gen Toyota Crown that was there. Yep, like a
Okay.
71 actual US sold Crown. There weren't that many of them. It's a 4-door, like thin little bumpers, really pretty car that had a 2J and an automatic from a Supra in it, and it was, or 1J, excuse me, from a Supra, and it was very well done, very clean. I take issue with the wheels, but that's a personal choice. It's fine. Easy enough to change. Overall, it was just a super sweet car. So, yeah, that was the biggest event. There was also, I went to the typical Saturday night pavilions show. So, good times.
What did you say was coming up
Coming up where now?
for next weekend? You're bringing the Mercure.
Oh,
to...
here in Phoenix. Yes, next week is Kyusha Club. Downtown
Yep.
Phoenix. That's Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Probably get there before 8 a.m. if you want a parking spot. That was a very good event the last 5 or 6 times it's happened. And I expect it to be exactly the same this time. I'm sure if you saw my Instagram page, you saw pictures of my car, my Cressida parked inside of a garage, like a display garage.
Yep.
That was the event that was. It's at the same location again, which I think this is maybe the first time it's ever been in the same location twice. Normally it's at different locations all over the valley. So that should be a good time. And then going on at the same time and afterwards at Italian Design and Racing, IDR, where actually I didn't talk about last week. I went to an event there 2 weeks ago, but they're doing their first Cars and Coffee. And they're doing a Cars and Coffee with an emphasis on homologation cars. So,
Yeah, I've got that pulled up because I wanted to
Yeah.
mention it. So it's Fountain Hills Cars and
yep,
Coffee.
Fountain Hills Cars and Coffee at Italian Design and Racing. It's a Ferrari race car shop. So the carpenters
Yep.
that own it, name Carpenter, not carpenters. Well, maybe they're carpenters. I don't know. But Michael and his dad started that business in the 80s. I assume 87 based on the name, Instagram name, IDR87. So what their original concept was they took Ferrari 308s and they turned them into 288 GTO replicas.
Yeah, I think we've talked about
They're
this.
super cool. They are so authentic that some people that owned 288 GTOs also own a Italian Design and Racing 288 GTO, so they can actually use it and drive it. And they have some that they go the full way, and they actually turn it from a transverse engine to a longitudinal engine like the 288, and they'll put turbos on, change all the body work. I mean, they basically make a I'd stop short of calling it a replica because it's still a real Ferrari, but they just like modify the regular Ferrari to be the super special Ferrari. But they also do other things. They have a bunch of 550 Maranello race cars. One, their Le Mans cars from the actual like Le Mans in the early 2000s, late 90s. Do you remember the Olive Garden sponsored one, the green one? Oh,
Nope.
okay. That was the most famous one that actually ran at Le Mans, ran at Daytona 24. So the red car they have actually has some parts and panels from that Olive Garden car. And the car they have also ran at Le Mans, ran at, Daytona and Sebring and all those things back in the day. So that's super cool as well. They also have Lamborghini LM002s. They have quite the cool stuff. And they're super nice guys, and the shop is really cool to look at. And the 3D printed stuff that they make in there to restore Ferraris and the Ferraris they're restoring. And my friend David has a few of his cars in there being worked on right now by another friend of the show, Josh from Adventure Driven Design. He's actually helping out with the cylinder head rebuild on the Lancia Delta Integrale. But David also has his Alpine A310 in there. And I forget the name of the Lancia Stratus replica company that makes the like 100% authentic Stratuses, but that's in there as well. So super cool spot. That's also this Saturday. And it's you don't have to have a homologation car to go. That's just the emphasis is going to be on homologation cars that will be parked together somewhere. I don't currently have a homologation car, but the Mercor I think is the closest to a homologation car because it was used in racing. So I'm going to go with.
Well, the 944 was too.
Yeah, I guess it seems less.
I mean, you could bring the Colts because there's an emphasis on cars that Kinjiro drove.
Yeah, that's true. I could bring the Colt. But I brought the Colt there last time. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Whatever I'm going to bring there is the same car that I'm bringing to Kyusha Club because it's the same day. And I was not planning on bringing the Colt to Kyusha Club only because that event seems to be more shiny cars.
I mean, I'm really bummed out because it would be perfect for my Galant, and I'm too far away to go.
You'd have to leave now.
Yeah.
You could maybe make it if you left now. You know what? It's Wednesday night for Saturday. Nah, you wouldn't make it.
I wouldn't.
You could make it if you drove straight through and didn't stop.
No. I have done it. I left on a Wednesday one time, and I made it there by Friday afternoon.
Really? In the green Volkswagen that time?
Yep.
Did you stop for a night?
I did like 15-hour days.
That still wouldn't get you here.
So yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I made it to Columbus. Then I made it to Eric, and then I made it to Phoenix.
So that's 2 nights though. So you couldn't have left on Wednesday. You were here Saturday night then.
Then I left on a Tuesday, I guess.
So you wouldn't make it.
I was definitely here Friday. I was definitely there Friday night.
So you wouldn't have made it if you left
because
now.
it was Labor Day weekend, and I stopped at the Starbucks in Flagstaff, and the woman was asking me because everybody's nice out there what I was doing. Oh, you're just driving out for the weekend? It's like, did you just hear where I told you where I drove from? Drove from Boston, lady. Not for I just came out for the weekend.
In her defense, she probably doesn't know where Boston is. She could have thought you meant Boston somewhere else.
I feel like she was like, oh, I have friends that go to school there because it was like a Starbucks, college kid.
Well, that just proves that she probably wasn't actually paying attention. She was just going through the motions. But yeah, with no stops, it's like 40 hours, I think. So you have to do 2 20-hour days with a 4-hour sleep in between, which could, I guess, be done, but I wouldn't recommend doing it by yourself.
No, I ain't about that life anymore.
I mean, I love it, honestly. I think that I will until my body says I can't do it. I will 100% always do it because I fully enjoy it. I like just being in the car all day.
No. I don't mind. I don't mind driving across country. I can no longer do like 20 hours at a time.
No, that's what I'm saying is I can. I love it. I mean, I work in a car.
I
work
do that.
in a car.
It's
every
boring.
day.
It's so boring. drive is like just
I love it.
boring. That's the
pick
problem.
a podcast or a long story podcast or something, and then mix it. A couple episodes here, then some music, then a couple more episodes.
That type of driving's a
Oh,
chore.
no, it's the best. It's the best. That's where I'm at my happiest.
I don't want to drive curvy roads. That's it. Just windy roads.
I don't know. I drive all
Straight
day.
interstates.
I drive all day for work in the city of Phoenix, and my only turns are 90-degree turns, so it's fine. Totally fine. Anyway, so yeah, that's the car stuff that's happened and is happening, and you're not going to make it in time, so we'll see you on Sunday.
Nope. Definitely not.
Anyway, so yeah, no more car stuff. There was a race this weekend. I think we can get into that real quick without spending too much time on it.
Yeah, I also don't care. If you don't like it, skip over it. NASCAR went to COTA, so the first road course of the season. I was, I missed the COTA race last year because we were actually in Arizona. So I missed it. Like I caught the end of it. But I didn't this year. I got to watch it start to finish. I wasn't sure. We were talking about how like Sebring looked really cool because it's such an old narrow track, and maybe COTA wouldn't present as well as on TV, but it actually does. The cars look pretty fast
for
there.
Sure. Especially because you can see the dynamic movement of the car going from the long straightaway to a hairpin.
Yeah,
when you watch F1 on that track, you don't get that same dynamic movement of the car because the cars are so stiff. You can actually see the car accelerate and brake and roll and pitch and yaw in the corners, and that makes the car seem like it's moving pretty good.
Yeah, and you could actually see the track like rubbered in. You could actually see it, especially going up that hill over those bumps, which apparently have developed over the years.
Yeah, very bumpy.
Yeah. I don't, and like basically no track limits, which is wild, except for through the S's, where a couple guys got offline and hit bumps, and the cars like went in the air, and like it happened to Chase Elliott. Like he just landed, and it was like all he could do was just go over track limits or spin out. So he took the penalty instead.
Yeah, there was some conversation of that afterwards. Like, should they have looked at that and been like, obviously he didn't take an advantage from this. Obviously he did this to crash. It wasn't like maybe we shouldn't penalize him for that.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that might be a conversation they should have for next year, because I mean, if he definitely lost time by doing it. He didn't do it on purpose. It was only to save the car from crashing. So I think that in that case, he shouldn't have got a penalty.
Yeah, it wasn't like he put half a tire over it to make the corner a little bit shorter.
The car got airborne. It came down squirrely, and he was just chasing it, and he chased it right off the track. So any other track, it would have been a crash.
Was it turn 7? They were literally ditch hooking.
Yeah, 7 or 8. I don't remember. That was super cool too, because it was just digging that hole the whole time and literally throwing dirt over the track, which made it, if you didn't ditch hook, you were out in the dirt and you were sliding all over the place.
Yeah. Well, they started that at the Xfinity race, which was also pretty wild. That had a wild finish. SVG was up towards the end of that race, like in second, and tried to get by Kyle Larson. Couldn't. Like he smashed up the car.
No, it wasn't Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson was
penalized. Yeah. So Carl. All right. So he was battling with someone else.
Yeah.
But Kyle Larson ended up going around. I forget.
I don't remember either.
Something. He went around SVG and
so first and second, SVG and second were battling pretty heavily. SVG pushed the car in front of him. I think 51 was the number. Pushed that car pretty hard into the hairpin, and they both wound up overdriving that corner and going wide. And Larson took the advantage and went past them. And that's just heads up racing by Kyle Larson to not mix it up with them, knowing that they're probably going to take each other
Yeah.
out at some point because they're both trying to win the race, and just be patient, sit back there, wait for the mistake to happen, and then pounce, which is what he did. And then that was it. Couldn't catch him. All done.
But I like that SVG was mixing it up with him, not letting himself get beat
Yep.
up by the regular guys.
Have you heard any of the interviews with SVG since that event?
No, I know he ended up getting penalized. He finished like 27th.
Yeah, during that battle, he also did the same thing that, well, not the same thing that Chase did, but within the same the same track limit issue got him, and he got penalized for that. He got 27, 28 or something.
Yeah.
But he was talking after the race, and he was like, here in NASCAR, he's like, these guys really will lean on each other. They'll crash into each other. They'll go underneath you and push you out of the way. He goes, it's different for me. He's like, I like it. He goes, but now I have to learn that that's how we drive and know that I can do that. He goes, because how I got passed by I think it was the 51 car. He goes, how I got passed by him, he pushed me out of the way. He's like, and if we were in Australian Supercar, I wouldn't have to worry about it because I would know that kind of push is illegal, and he'd get a 5 or 10 second penalty from race control. So all I have to do is stay behind him. I'm going to win the race. But here, I got to pass him. So I'm going to push him back, which is what I did. So it was neat hearing the difference, in the two racing series. But.
And then, so watching him in the Cup race, they were talking about how he's the only driver that's doing heel to toe. Everybody else is doing left foot braking. And then, unfortunately, his transmission broke, which is wild. Because, the one in the Le Mans car, the Garage 56 car, went like 22 hours.
Is it the same transmission?
Before it broke. It's the transaxle. I mean, it should be the same design. It's not the same transmission.
Yeah, I don't know what the difference was, the gear set, or who knows. But
or the way he was doing it. I don't know. Everybody else is just doing left foot braking, but who knows? But that race had a lot of road course ringers. Like they're doing the pre-race rundown. I'm like, man, there's a lot of people that could win this race.
Yeah, and they didn't.
No. Like that's the thing. Poor Kobayashi needs to learn to beat
he needs
up,
to learn
he
what
certainly getting
SVG
beat
was
up.
talking about. Like, this is not Le Mans. This is not F1. People are going to push you out of the way. And it seemed almost like he wasn't thinking about the consequences of putting himself in a place where somebody would push him out of the way. He wasn't driving defensively.
Yeah.
And he got spun a few times.
Yeah. I mean, he dove bomb a couple of people to make passes, and then, but like, you've got these backmarker guys that are just running the road course just to hold on and aren't very good at road racing. They're just like, well, I'm just going to smash into you and get you out of the way because I'm annoyed.
Which is also
Okay,
annoying too,
cool.
because you're going to spin somebody out of the way for 28th place. Like, that seems annoying. I will say Kobayashi's car, great livery. Really good looking car. Also, Bubba Wallace had a very similar livery. Great looking liveries. So I hope they do that car in 164th, because that would look good at my shelf of NASCARs.
But, I was surprised. There, like, a lot of guys got up front. Chastain got up front there, and then just, Byron's pit crew, way better.
It was a 3 seconds.
Or was it Bell?
3 second pit crew.
Yeah.
That's a 3 second pit stop. Or sorry, try it again. 3 second,
3 second
difference in the pit stop.
Faster.
And that is all day.
It got him out fast.
Yeah, that is
faster.
all day. They went in nose to tail, and they came out, and there was no shot. He was all done.
Yeah, 1, he had pit box number 1, and 2, they were 3 seconds faster.
Yep, absolutely insane.
It was like, and that in itself is the Hendrick difference.
Yeah.
The Hendrick guys have some ridiculous pit crews. Like, usually Larson's good for like the fastest pit stop, but apparently they get Byron's crew firing off. So
yeah, which is one of those things that they're treating them like sports teams now. Like at the beginning of the race, they'll pick a team and they'll show you the lineup of them, and they show it like almost like a football game where they on the defense is this guy and where they're from and where they went to school and all this stuff. And it's neat actually listening to that because a lot of them actually are former football players, former hockey players.
They're guys that didn't quite make
or they
the
made
NFL.
the NFL.
Or some of them, they played for a couple of years. One of the teams a few weeks ago was like, a Super Bowl champion and
Super Bowl champion and
whatever
NASCAR
team it
champion.
was.
Like, what? Okay. What a cool spread. Yeah.
Wild.
So, and they're treating them like that, and they're giving them, more press than they've ever had before. And it's kind of neat because they are the main reason that you win a race.
Yeah, and I only learned that during the Daytona 500 that they fly the pit crews in the day of.
Do they?
Yeah, so because these guys they're not mechanics. Nope. These are not the guys working the cars. You literally hire. It's not like old school NASCAR where you might have like maybe some of your pit crew doubles as mechanics, right?
Driver doubles as a mechanic back then.
These are, no, these guys are pro athletes. All they do is train to do the motions of changing.
Take off
tires.
tire, put on a tire.
That's
Take
what
off
you
tire,
want.
put on
You
a
want
tire.
that. Yeah, which is at its basics is like running plays, right? You just do the same motions. You do it fast. You need the strength and the speed to do it.
Strength, speed, and agility because you got to run around each other and not knock each other over because there's 3 guys on the right side of the car and 4 guys on the left side of the car plus the extra guy who does windshield tear-offs and wiping down the nose. So,
and I like how they show it now. They've got that back angle where the guy will be fueling and then the tire carrier comes around. He stops fueling for a second and he'll usually like kick the tire away with his foot and then go back to fueling as the guy goes underneath him to
and
change
sometimes
the tire.
Depending on what track they're at and how much fuel they're doing, they'll switch fuel tanks too. When he backs up, they'll give him a fresh tank full of fuel. So,
which those are not light.
No, I forget what they weighed empty. I think it was like 50 pounds empty or something. Like they're not light at all.
So for people getting into it, that is a cool part to like realize. Like those are sports teams, and they did do some of that. Talked about some of that on the Netflix show, but I feel like they could have gone into a little bit more about that.
I still haven't finished the NASCAR show.
But anyway, we were talking about the race.
95 pounds that thing weighs in their hands.
Byron was on the pole, really dominant through most of the race, had a fast car. Christopher Bell had his car really turned on at the end there. I thought he was going to catch him if he had a couple more laps.
I think one more lap would have made the difference. And maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe it wouldn't have because maybe Byron was just driving fast enough just to keep him behind.
He could have. Yeah. They talked about that. Where instead of like, putting tons of laps on people, you just drive fast, just fast enough to win.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which I feel like happens sometimes. Not every guy wants to win the pole every weekend. I think some guys, they get a fast car, but you kind of don't want to show that off.
I don't think necessarily during qualifying. I think during qualifying, everybody's going for the pole because the pole gets you not only the first starting place, but it also gets you a really good pit box, which is important. So I think you're definitely going for it then. But I think that you're probably right during the race.
During practice.
During practice and then during the race sometimes when, if you're in third or fourth place and you know that you're only driving at 90%, you know that when the time comes you can do it, but you don't want a target on your back. You don't want people watching what you're doing. You probably hang back a bit. Hope you can get it later.
Now, here's what's interesting. I know there's supposedly no team orders in NASCAR for teams. But it did seem like Ty Gibbs sort of held up Bell for a few laps. Had he not held him up, he probably would have passed Byron, I think.
So Gibbs is not on Hendrick, though.
Was it Gibbs or was it Reddick? I think it was Gibbs.
Neither one of them are on
it was
Hendrick's
Gibbs.
team, so.
No, but Bell is a Toyota.
Right.
Bell is a Joe Gibbs. There was 2 Toyotas.
I was thinking of Byron. Sorry.
Nope.
Yeah, you're right. So if Gibbs had let Byron by, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But also, that was podium positioning at that point, right? Because that was for, at the time, third place.
It was.
So I don't think team orders or no team orders, because team orders are usually like, hey, let this car win the race. I don't think there's much controversy when team orders are like further back. Like a couple weeks ago, actually in Phoenix, I think it was Phoenix, when Bubba was like 3 laps down, and it was a race before Phoenix, whatever race that was. And Bubba was like 3 laps down, and he went out there and he was helping Hamlin draft around the track.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are some team orders. It's just not, there's not throw the race for this other guy team orders.
I mean, yeah, but they're both Gibbs cars. I would have been like, listen, Bell's got a faster car than you. I would have rather had one of my cars at first.
But again, like I said, it was a podium position they were still in. Pride's got a big part of it. If you're I'm going to finish third in a NASCAR race. So I don't want to give up this position.
Speaking of that, I don't know what happened. Why did Kyle Busch was all up in Bell after the race?
Because Bell dumped him.
I don't remember what happened during the race.
Yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Busch had a bad day. he was backwards 2 or 3 times. So I think he was just hot already. And he was one of the guys that dumped him in one of the turns. So I don't think anything was intentional.
Yeah, well.
I just think that they were driving hard and just kind of, they both were in the same real estate, and it doesn't work out that way. But yeah, I think that if Busch keeps his word, he better look out next race. But cooler heads usually prevail, and saying you're going to crash somebody on purpose and then heading in the next race is not a good look. So chances are pretty good it'll go away. But overall, I was entertained. There was not a ton of side-by-side racing. There were no caution flags. The only cautions were the stage breaks, which is interesting because last year there were no stage breaks at all. They ran the stages, but they just kept running. This is the first year that road courses will have stage breaks. So the only restarts came after stage breaks. I think the race might have had a very different result if there'd been some more yellows to mix up the tire strategy. But I
think that's
part of the strategy this time.
Didn't they also go to single file restarts for road courses?
They weren't single file. They were side by side.
Right, but there's no choose rule at the road courses.
I didn't notice.
I could have sworn that they wanted to go to single file restarts because last year the end of the COTA race went like,
so
it was like
that's
3 or 4
why
restarts.
They changed the restart zone. They moved it back because they wanted cars to be a little more shuffled together before they got to that really hard turn 1. And it must have worked because again, there were no cautions for reason. There were only stage break cautions. So it must have worked out. But yeah, it was entertaining, a very entertaining race from a strategy standpoint. It was very entertaining watching Bell make that run on the last 10 laps or so.
Yeah,
and you're sitting home, and whether or not he actually had a chance, you thought he had a chance. So that was fun to watch. But overall, it was a good race. So,
and the number 24 has got a lot of road course victories.
Yeah, it does.
Just that number.
Yeah, it does. Between Jeff Gordon and
I think they were talking about the Hendrick road course victories too were like really high. But
because the winningest,
it's a dynasty team,
winningest road course current driver is still Chase Elliott, and he's a Hendrick guy. So
yeah,
but good race.
But he was like a non-factor. It was weird. Some guys were just complete non-factors.
He's had a lot of non-factors lately. Like I said, he's a weird character in the sport because he's the most popular driver, and I just don't know why.
Yeah. But anyway, it was a good race. I enjoy that NASCAR is doing more road courses. I think they should do Lime Rock
That'd be cool.
since there's no IMSA
I don't
there.
think they have the
Because it's basically
facilities for it, though.
all they make is right-hand turns at Lime Rock. Pretty much, there's one left-hander.
Yeah, it's big modified oval.
It's basically an oval.
I mean, I guess.
Like, it's only a mile long. It'd be a short track road course. It'd be wild.
Yeah.
Like if they ran it without the chicane. Oh my gosh.
I can't see the Cup cars running there just because of the crowd that it brings in and the lack of space there. But it would be cool to see the trucks or the Xfinity cars there. I can see that happening. But I think the Cup cars is too much of a circus.
Anyway. Other quick NASCAR news. So they're doing the All-Star race again at North Wilkesboro Speedway, which that was cool last year.
3 years ago? 4 years ago?
There was a news story that broke.
Oh, no, the All-Star race, not the. Yeah. Never mind.
All-Star race.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Clash.
Nope. This is the racetrack they restored specifically to do the All-Star race. They're doing some prep, starting to get it ready. And apparently they found like some cracks in the main grandstands, and there's always rumors of like moonshining going on at the track. And there's a big like open cavern under the grandstands they found, like a sinkhole opened up. So they're like, it's a suspected moonshine area.
Get an underground like moonshine distillery, and they backfilled it in.
Some false
and
walls,
it wasn't strong enough dirt. So
yeah, they're like there's like some false walls around here that kind of make it seem like it was a secret room. So
I mean, listen, that's the history of NASCAR, right? NASCAR is their whole thing is that they were founded by moonshiners. So,
yep,
would make sense.
All right, let's sneak in a couple Craig Don't Tell Me's here. All right, time for Craig Don't Tell Me. Again, these are varying quality. It's been very difficult to harvest these lately.
Yeah, because much like people aren't putting effort into their barn find flips, they're also not putting effort into their ads.
Yeah. All right. Very mild custom, all under the hood. Radio needs help. Wide whites with a lot of tread. Power top works. New cloth top, black with red piping. New rear glass. Nice interior, front seat rebuilt. No tears, worn spots. Let's see. Steering wheel mint. Undercarriage real nice. Dual exhaust. DUEL. 3-speed on the column. Clutch smooth. Fender skirts. Spotlight. Bumper guards. Front and rear. A lot of chrome under the hood. Side mirrors. Wipers work. Oil pressure and charge is nice. Wingtips on both front and rear bumpers. All glass, excellent condition. Regulators work too. Starts right up, runs perfect. Has new fuel pump, rebuilt distributor. Engine has aluminum heads. Wayland intake dual 97. Carbs new 12 volt alternator regulator. Positive ground, new chrome oil filter. Clock, excellent. Radiator does not overheat. Chrome hood hinges. Good hinges. On trunk lid, paint is very good. It's like one giant long run-on sentence. What? Has working directionals. Blue dot taillights. No heater. It lived in Florida. New plugs and wires. Hoses and belt. Not that old. Speedo says 26,000 miles and works, but who knows? True mileage. But the car doesn't show it.
So a Wyand intake, I assume?
Yeah. WEI.
I thought you said Wayland. I was like the country singer.
I thought it was spelt incorrectly.
No, Wyand is the proper name. They're like a Edelbrock. They're an aftermarket company that makes stuff back in the day. So
Wyand. All right.
There's zero information of what kind of vehicle this is. A lot of descriptors.
Yeah.
It says aluminum heads, and I'm assuming that's aftermarket, not factory.
Sounds it.
Because it has a Wyand intake, so it has other aftermarket parts.
Yep.
Chrome wingtips? I don't know what that means. on the bumpers.
Yeah.
Fender skirts and a 3-speed column, so it's something early to mid.
The wingtips literally look like little wingtips on the bumpers.
They're factory or aftermarket?
Maybe they're aftermarket. I've never seen them before.
So that doesn't help either. So 3-speed on the column and Fender skirts have me in the early 60s. Mid 60s at the latest. No,
maybe.
because it could be a little later. I mean, I don't like the ad because it doesn't give me. It's convertible.
Yeah, nothing on like feeling. You know, any feeling.
My
from
feeling
it?
is
Sometimes
my
I do
feeling
that.
is like it's like a 68 Buick Electra convertible or something. Nah, that wouldn't be a 3-speed in the column. So it's smaller.
Think about aluminum heads and that intake. What that would
That's
be
the problem. Is that's if it's aftermarket, it's anything. Hawaiian, they made it for every small block, big block, whatever.
Oh, did they?
Aluminum heads. My brain immediately went to Buick with aluminum engine from the factory, but if it's not factory, it could be anything. So a 3-speed in the column is just 60s, 70s. So I'm thinking fender skirts. So my brain automatically goes big 60s boat, like a 64 Ford Fairlane. But I can't think of, I don't know if they came with a 3-speed in the column. It might have. So 64 Ford Fairlane.
Right make.
Okay. So we have fender skirts on a
but like
Ford.
Wrong decade though.
Oh, okay. So it's like a 50 Ford. So a 50, it's either maybe like a 54 Ford. So right after the shoebox Ford.
Even earlier.
I mean, at this point here, I'm just going to start guessing years because it's not enough to give it away. But a Y-end intake, you'd hear a lot on flatheads, but flatheads went into the early 50s. So, but aluminum heads you wouldn't hear in a flathead because they didn't really have. Well, I mean, I guess there were aluminum like Arden heads available and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so a 34 Ford.
Yeah, you're real close. I'll just
point.
give it to you. It's a 41 Ford Super Deluxe convertible.
So 41 makes sense because that would have fender skirts. I guess 34 would be too early for fender skirts, really, because a 41 is this. It's like the that's the Biff Tannen car in Back to the Future.
Yeah, this is a good looking car.
I like this car a lot.
It feels like it's expensive, but I don't know what 41 Ford is going for. They're asking $39,000.
So it's a flathead, I assume.
Yep, flathead with like. It almost looks like.
Do the heads say Arden on them? They probably do.
What do they say on the valve cover?
That's not the valve cover.
It won't get any bigger. That's the actual cylinder head.
Flatheads work.
It looks like it almost says Offenhauser on them. They're finned aluminum.
Yeah, those are cool. I mean, that's strong money.
Dual carbs.
That's strong money, but it's not out of the question for a good convertible if it's a clean car.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, it's a cool looking car. I don't know what I'd do with it.
Oh, it's just a cool cruiser. It's a cool family car to like take to a Saturday car show with your family or something. You know, when Marco's a little bit older and he can spend the day at a car show, something like that would be rad to own. So,
I guess it just feels like super old to me.
See, I have this hankering for something from like pre-1960, just something that's neat like that with a flathead maybe, and you know, I still want to do like a lowered style, like period correct custom kind of build. So, and flatheads just sound neat. They sound really good. So, yeah, that's cool. I like it. I would drive it. Just don't crash into the back of a manure truck.
No.
So, all right. Yeah, so there wasn't enough info on like what was going on there. Wyand is definitely known for flathead parts, so I should have gone that far back. But I was thinking 3-speed on the column. I was thinking later. So,
I don't know. Sometimes they're too easy for you. Other times they're
It's just hard when there's no actual
not good
info
enough
except for
information.
aftermarket parts. Yeah.
That's like the way a lot of
Yeah.
these are.
Yeah.
I have another one that's same seller, like he's got a collection, but this one's got a lot more. The aftermarket parts will probably give it away.
All right, I'll go over you first. I'm
Want
going
me
to
to
go. My turn. We're going to go back and forth. So we got to go. All right. For sale or trade, blank, blank, blank. New brakes, bearings, hubs, discs, calipers, plugs, cap, rotor, wires, AC fan, steering box, new belts, oils, transmission, drive shaft, new interior, new paint. 2.9 liter engine, automatic transmission with overdrive, 4x4 manual locking hubs, AM FM CD, way too much to list. Look at the pictures. These are going up and up in price. Finding one in this condition is rare. Will trade for Wave Runner, Harley Bagger, sports car, RV, boat. So, there's not a lot of info there either, Andrew. But this is a 2.9 liter,
Yeah,
4x4.
right. No engine size other than the
2.9 liter.
No
Well,
cylinders.
how many cylinders do you think a 2.9 would have?
I don't know.
You
This
should
is
know.
pretty tricky.
2.9 and a 4x4. So you know it's nothing exotic.
No, it's. I mean, you're either at. You got to be at like either a straight six or a V6.
Okay, I forgot about straight six, but I'll give you the engine. It's a V6. It's a V6.
Okay.
I will say that it would be fuel injected, but barely.
Okay.
It is multi-port injection, but it would be like this vehicle probably when these first came out were available carbureted. Probably only these last run ones were fuel injected.
An early Isuzu Trooper?
No.
Is it?
Go ahead.
All right, 2.9 liter. God, that doesn't stick out in my brain as anything. 2.9 liter 4x4. It's such a weird displacement.
It's a weird one. That
That's
engine
not-
doesn't come in many things.
Like, why wouldn't you just call it a 3 liter?
Because
There's a lot of 3
it's
liters
probably
that
a
are like
2.8 something liter. They're already rounded up.
Yeah, there's a lot of 3 liters that are like that.
So let me go through the history of the vehicle a little bit here.
Actually, a lot of 3 liters are like 2.997 or something.
So when this vehicle first came out, it was available with a 2.8 liter V6 with a carburetor.
So it's an S10 Blazer?
The S10 Blazer never had a 2.9. The final run of this vehicle had a 2.9 liter with fuel injection. There were a couple of years where you could get this with a 4D55T Mitsubishi turbo diesel.
What? But it's not a Mitsubishi.
Not a Mitsubishi.
Wait a minute. Oh no, we've talked about these
Sort
before.
of. We've talked about the brother or cousin to this vehicle, which had the same options.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to remember back now. I can't remember what we talked about last episode. I'm trying to remember back like 100 episodes ago. Oh no.
The V6
It's
is
not-
a German V6.
Oh what?
Like the 2.8
no.
and
What-
2.9 liter
what was
Cologne V6.
Oh. Oh my gosh. This is so frustrating. I vaguely remember us talking about this because I feel like somebody corrected us on telling us that something else had a Mitsubishi diesel in it.
Maybe, but luckily I forget that because when people correct us, I don't listen.
Yeah, I'll shout out. I feel like it was maybe Josh at ADD that told us about something else with a Mitsubishi diesel in
that
it.
would make sense.
Yeah. And he was listening. He probably knows the answer to this, and I don't. Man, it's not a Isuzu. It's
not in a Isuzu.
I don't think
It's
there's
not
any.
international because internationals came with Nissan diesels.
Oh, right. We also talked about
Yeah.
that before. Oh man,
Listen, Andrew, it's been like 7 years. We talked about everything.
it's like I don't know. I give up.
This is a 1989 Ford Bronco 2.
Oh, so
Yep.
weird.
This man wants $11,500. The vehicle is ultra clean and probably worth around there because they're selling around 10 grand now online. So,
Man, that is such like a mind meld that you could get a Bronco 2 with a Mitsubishi diesel in
and
it.
last time we talked about it, we talked about the Ford Ranger because you could also get a Ford Ranger with a Mitsubishi diesel. So,
wow, talk about what a just Frankenstein of a vehicle.
yeah, I mean, if I found one of these with a Mitsubishi diesel in it, I would maybe drive that over another Dodge Raider.
There can't be many left because people were like, "This is a Ford, but it's got a god dang Mitsubishi engine in it. It's
International
junk."
used Nissan diesels in their diesel trucks, so strange stuff.
Then you get an Isuzu diesel in your 2500 Chevy. So.
Right. Yeah.
Weird. So
Yeah,
weird.
It's a cool truck though. I like it a lot. Would drive if I had a Wave Runner or Harley Bagger to trade. I'd take care of that, but I don't.
All right.
I'll send you this link so you can look at it after.
Here we go. This is a center door in excellent condition. Rebuilt motor by Jam Machine Shop. Blank engine with high compression head, 280 cam, new modern crankshaft, new rods and pistons at the same time. They rebuilt the rear end and the transmission, jackrabbit clutch. Complete new interior, Rocky Mountain brakes. Has a new starter, ring gear, alternator. V/W distributor battery. New carburetor, new radiator, new complete rebuilt front axle, new kingpins, new leaf springs, front and rear. Yeah, steering wheel mint. 2 nice bud vases. All glass, newly made. Pull-up straps are excellent. Third brake light. All lights work off battery. 6 new tires, black wall.
6 new tires.
4 new tubes.
With tubes. Okay.
Exhaust. Car starts off battery. Car has a toolbox of gas, oil, water, cans on running boards.
Running boards.
New gas tank under driver's seat.
Okay.
I have the front passenger seat, custom-made carpets, rugs, interior done by Mark's Auto Upholstery in Foxborough, Mass. They did a nice job, in parentheses. Beautiful oak wood around windows. Clear coat, stained. Dual,
Stained.
DUEL, outside
This guy
mirrors.
definitely can't spell dual. Is it the same seller?
4 rebuilt wheels by a person in Amish country.
All right. I know what this is already, so...
All new spokes replaced. I painted them black.
Okay.
Used the red wagon wheel design.
So you
All right.
get...
See, I told you this had enough
Well, no,
accessories.
you gave it away with the first line.
Yeah.
Center door. So center door is
Okay.
Model T. So
All right.
it's probably I'll have to guess on year because I don't know. We'll say 1922 Model T hot rod. No, not hot rod, stock.
No, 1918. Yeah.
Yep.
18. It's
Yes.
all stock. I got an 18 Model
Yes,
T.
center door was immediate. Like, I know what that is. Yep.
Okay.
So the center door is weird because it's literally, it almost looks like it should be a 4-door,
center.
but there's no front door. So when you get in the
Nope.
car, you get in the back seat and then walk up to the front.
You can get in either the front or the back. kind of efficient.
Yeah, hey, listen, that's what Ford is known for, right? Cutting corners and making things more efficient. But I like Senator Ortiz. Um, that's you talk about your 48 being old. This is a whole different time.
This
I
is
was
it's
I was
over,
driving up 35th Avenue here the other
over 100 years
no,
old.
well, that's wild, right? I was driving up 35th Avenue here the other day, which is a main thoroughfare in Phoenix, and is an apartment complex on the right. Typical apartment complex with like the covered parking spots, kind of like my apartment complex when I first lived here. And the last spot by the street is just like a 1915 Model T, just parked in his apartment complex, like it's a new Corolla. It just was the weirdest. Like I almost like turned around to take a picture because it was so like, what? What is that doing here?
Well, what I think about is like, this is a 1918 Model T. It would have been 2 years old when my house was built. So like, the people building my house would have rolled up on this. And I keep meaning to go down to the historical society and see if there's pictures of my street from the time the house was built, just to see what.
Go to your local Barnes and Noble and see if they have one of those books too, like the books of your area.
Yeah, they do.
Take a flip through that. Maybe there's some pictures in there too.
I could probably just go to the library.
Yeah, whatever. I just know they have them at Barnes and Noble. So, yeah, no, that's such a. It's wild to think about the fact that cars are old enough now that there's a car that's 100 years old. Like,
yeah,
when my grandfather was born in 1912, like he could have come home from the hospital in a Model T. Like, that's crazy.
So this is the same guy selling the 41. Looks like he's trying to get rid of some of his cars in his collection, but this is I don't know what a Model T goes for. This one looks pretty nice. 19.9.
So that's probably high.
It seems high for one because I think the market on this is really
fallen out, but
pretty fast.
That's a center door car, which means it has glass windows all around. Yeah. It doesn't have just the top with no glass. So a Model T, like runabout or whatever they called the one that was just like a soft top with no windows. Those are, you can buy a running driving car for $10,000 all day. The fancier you get, the more expensive they get. So maybe 19 is fine. I don't know the minutia enough, but I know that a full surround glass Model T is worth more than an open car. So I would guess 15, but maybe I'm wrong and it's 19. So, but anyway, and everybody that owns them thinks they're worth $40,000. So at least he's not that guy.
Because they've had them for 50 years, and they were expensive at one point because they were an actual antique car.
An antique car, yeah.
Like, to me, this is an antique car. Like, this is what defined antique cars, and then like stuff from like the 50s to me is like a classic car.
Well, look at even like our fathers both belong to that North Shore Old Car Club. The logo is like a Model T. But what blows my mind is thinking about the fact that the North Shore Old Car Club was founded in 1955. So when the 55 Chevy was brand new, which is what 90% of the members probably own now, that was the car.
And this car was like 40 years old in 1954.
The irony is those same guys get mad about a 20-year-old car in there now without being able to think about the fact that every car was once a new car. But I digress. All right, ready? Blank, great running, blank, blank. 1.7 liter, 5-speed manual. All original, except for dual, DUAL, exhaust system. No mechanical issues, drives well. Interior is excellent. Has a radio, but it's not installed. Has great leather seats with no rips or tears. Has some of the typical rust areas. New brakes, new battery, new tires. Door handles not in picture will be included. The removable Targa is in excellent condition. And go.
1.7
liter. 1.7 liter makes it an early version of this car with chrome
7
bumpers.
Chrome bumpers.
5-speed manual and a 1.7.
Yeah.
Removable target top.
Oh man.
205 50/15 tires.
Is it Italian?
It is not Italian. I will say that you are on the right continent.
Is this a 1.7 liter?
The later ones came with a I want to say there was a 1.9 and maybe a 2.0. But I'm not gonna swear. I know there was a 1.9.
Whoa.
But I don't know if they ever went to 2.0 or not.
I can't. Oh, okay. 1.7.
Sorry, 1.8 was the later one. It was 1.7 and a 1.8 and then a
1.8?
2 liter. So all three were available.
5-speed. Oh, is it like a Rabbit convertible?
Target top.
Oh. It's like a 912?
Getting closer. 912s were not target tops.
Oh, okay. So it's just 911 Targa?
911s.
Or was it
911s not
914?
1.7s. Is it not, what did you say? It is a 914
then?
yes.
Okay. I thought you get a 912 in a Targa.
Oh, you know what? You are correct. I apologize. You could get a 912 in a Target.
Yeah, you get a 911 in a Targa. So
Yeah, my brain went to 912E, which was not available in a Target, I don't think. But you're right. I think the early 912s did come with Targets. So that is a valid answer.
All right, that makes sense.
But yes,
Small.
914 is what it is.
I thought you were trying to trick me with the displacement, like it was some larger, like rotary, like an NSU or something.
No. This is I want this car too, actually. It says typical rust areas, but it's a Phoenix car, so that just means battery tray, which is fine. It's $15,000, which isn't terrible. Oh, anyway. All right. You want more for me? Or is that it?
Yeah. Nope, I got it. This blank has been refinished in its current shade of green, which I think is a mistake because it's clearly blue. Details include a retractable black soft top, tubular chrome bumper guards, bright chrome trim, bright window trim, a driver's door mirror, a vented engine cover, rides on 12-inch steel wheels. Cabin presents crimson vinyl upholstery. So here's someone, stealing bat style writing, which spans the front bucket seats, rear bench, door panels. Equipment includes black 2-spoke steering wheel, 3-point seatbelts, roll-up windows, and a center console storage bin.
That's it? Oh.
Rear-mounted 499cc air-cooled engine, inline twin engine. Sends power to the rear wheels. 4-speed manual transmission. Any guesses?
It's a rear-mounted air-cooled 2-cylinder?
499cc
retractable
inline twin
cloth
engine.
top.
Yep.
But it has glass windows.
Yep.
Is it a go-go mobile?
No.
Is it an Auto Bianchi? Oh, wait a second.
No.
I'm skipping the obvious one. It's a Fiat 500. Okay.
Yes.
I was going too obscure there. So it's not a retractable roof.
Yeah,
it's like
I thought I was
folding sunroof.
Retractable black soft top, yeah. This is a pretty looking one. The 71. Feels like kind of right on the price, $22,000.
Yeah, they're going for that probably now for a clean one. More than I'd ever spend on one.
This is my personal car. In a past life, I imported and sold 25 plus Fiat 500s in Italy. I've owned this car for approximately 25 years.
Did the guy give his name?
No, but it's in Danvers.
Yeah.
You probably know
I don't
him.
know exactly who that is. All right. I got one more for you and then one fun one afterwards because it's really going to throw you for a loop. All right. This one here has got a list a mile long of aftermarket accessories and the vehicle itself. So, ready? Purchased this blank from the original owner 10 years ago at 74,000 miles. Spent 6 of those years parked in the garage, not being used until the last couple of years. The following is a shorthand to what I've done since then. Only selling to focus on another vehicle. I am somewhere between $11,000 and $13,000 into it, not looking to make a profit at it. Tons of work has been done to ensure, tons of work and math has been done to ensure ride quality at this height. Both the front and rear are stiffens and bump stops dialed in to a new range of travel. Bring your own wheels and the price goes down $1,000. Will assist swapping over. New heater core. Fully functional digital gauges. Buddy's Garage door handle shavers. 24 karat gold plated door handles, window cranks, and shifter. Seats and A-pillars and headliners all upholstered with new foam. 3 layers of sound deadener. SunTech tint. Billet Specialties Eagle steering wheel. Memphis Audio 4x6s. Little Shop No-Toe Heim Link steering kit with 0 bump steer kit. Beltec 3-inch drop springs. Complete new Delco lower control arms with new ball joints. Beltec drop spindles. ZQ8 package sway bars. Bump stops adjusted for proper travel. 3-inch dropped leaf springs, de-arched new bushings. 4-inch blocks on top of 3-inch leaf springs. I'm skipping over a bunch that don't mean too much, like transmission mount, yada yada yada. Axle swapped to compensate for tire size. Speedometer accurate within 2 miles per hour. Drivetrain, 120,000 mile, 2.8 liter T5 transmission. NOS OEM Isuzu belt tensioner. Smog completely removed. New AC compressor, new fans. Everything else is kind of unimportant.
Whoa. What was the engine size again?
2.8 liter transmission, T5.
Oh, man. I was going in one direction, but that engine really...
Well, what direction were you going in?
Well, it certainly sounds like a G machine setup muscle car.
Okay.
But what has a 2.8 that has like, front spindles and a rear axle? Isuzu, that'd be rear-wheel drive. I don't know.
Well, I said the word Isuzu, but that doesn't mean it's an Isuzu. If it wasn't Isuzu, I would have skipped over the word Isuzu probably.
Yeah. But wait.
So the OEM Isuzu belt tensioner
is
okay.
Hold on. All right. It's like a what was that? Is that Chevy Extreme S10?
I'm not going to. I'll give it to you. It's not an Extreme S10, but it is an S10.
Okay, it is the bubbly.
No, it's a square
one?
body. It's a 91.
Oh, okay.
So,
I was kind of picturing that after a while. It was the 2.8. We went there earlier.
Yep, which I was laughing. We went there earlier, knowing this ad was coming up. Interesting though, because I didn't realize this. So the OEM Isuzu belt tensioner is done because then you can run the factory Isuzu Rodeo belt setup with no smog pump. Because the 2.8 also came in the Rodeo.
Oh, weird.
And this truck is actually kind of neat. He only wants $7,000 for it. It's got way more than 7 grand of the parts in it.
Yeah.
And you can get it for $6,000.
It sounds like it's
So
slammed.
it's completely slammed, but everything's been moved, so it still rides like a normal truck, which is cool.
Yeah.
So it's a single cab long bed with a full bed topper on it on the ground. I didn't know if Beltec would give it away or not, because Beltec was the name for mini trucks back in the 90s.
Yeah.
The interior is super clean, like original. The gold plated stuff is weird, but it fits the vibe. Clear taillights, wooden steering wheel. Like, I could drive this now. I would have made fun of this in the 90s, but I'm into it now.
It's passed into ironic cool territory.
I just think that there's a lot of cool stuff on this truck that I don't know. It's period perfect, and for $7,000, you couldn't build a more unique vehicle. So it's pretty much ready to go as is. And listen, I drive a slammed 80s station wagon every day. What's the difference between a slammed 90s pickup truck? So I think it's rad. I would totally drive it. So, and listen, I'd have Jordan just fill the bed with speakers, because why not at this point? He knows how to do it.
Yeah.
So.
I gotta give one last one, just a quick shout out, because this is not a good one for Craig, but the description is pretty funny. So it's a Volkswagen van again, with the pop top. So like a Westie.
Volkswagen van again. I got it. Yes.
Yeah. Sweet ride, but it's still a 1986 Vanagon, not for the mechanically challenged. Runs well, but not quite right. Still working on it.
Hey, honesty.
Honest.
All right, I got one more bonus one for you too. We'll play it. I won't take along with it, but it's kind of a neat vehicle. This is a blank. It does not currently run. Originally standard transmission with clutch. Has air conditioning. Needs battery installed. Operates on 300 volts. I'll include a nickel metal hydride Toyota Prius battery that should make it run. I just have too many projects working on it. Warp 9 monster motor will go as high as 100 miles per hour with the AC on. Custom made controller and BMS, battery management system, I guess. Please don't ask me how hard it is to install the battery. That's like asking somebody how hard it is to build a house. For some people, it may be easy. For you, it may be hard. Thanks for looking, and have a great day. Yes.
Accurate.
Any guesses on what that could be in? For your bonus trivia?
Oh, I mean, it's obviously an older EV?
It's an older car. It was not originally an EV.
Oh, I mean, what's common for an EV? Like
it's
Beetle?
Not a common vehicle for an EV conversion.
Oh.
I was actually seriously in the market for one of these about 2 years ago.
Man, I don't know. Your what you're chasing in cars changes like the wind.
No, this one here was actually like I had intentions on purchasing one, and I purchased a 944 instead. It was a 924.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay.
An electric 924, which I don't know. It's kind of cool.
It sounds like a Bradley Brownell special.
Yeah, it definitely does. But I'd drive it too. But I don't know. I want to email him and have him ask how hard it is to install the battery. Hey man, how hard is it to put battery in that thing? Maybe easy, maybe hard. Anyway,
if you know how to do it, it's not that bad. But to come up from zero, it's kind of a bit much. You got to be into it because it's all in it's literally in like the battery management, and then like you basically the easiest way to describe it is electric vehicles have a giant speed controller
Sure.
like an RC car. And
Well,
you
this
need
thing
to
says
tune
it
that.
has the motor's installed. It has the custom made controller. The only thing it
Yeah.
doesn't have is the batteries. So you need to
the controller is what.
make the battery communicate with the control that's in there, which I'm sure is the
Yeah,
difficult
and
engineering
then
part.
you got to do a little tuning to the motor for
Yep.
power delivery, because you don't want it to be like, a tiny bit of throttle input on the pedal is
Instant
like,
all.
instant all. Yeah, exactly. You have to like modulate how that pedal works, and
I mean, a 924
So it-
with an electric motor in it is basically just an RX-7, isn't it? It's like
probably.
rotary motor, rotary engine, electric motor,
Yeah.
rotary. I don't know.
I don't know where you put the
A
battery.
big giant hatch.
Oh yeah,
So I don't know. I'm not buying it, but if I had exorbitant amounts of cash lying around, I might buy it and mess around with it. Looks kind of neat. It's the picture of it shows it plugged into his wall, and the plug is where the fuel filler is, which is kind of cool. So
yeah.
it looks like it's probably pretty well done. But then again, he is selling it before it's done, so maybe it's never going to work. So
Yeah, maybe.
it's a clean car. I know I have a 944, but I'd still like to try a 924 sometime. Everybody tells me it's worse, but I'm sure it is. But it's also probably not bad. So
Can't be any worse than a 944.
it's probably better. It's probably like the wide body versus narrow body stereo. I like the narrow because it's more nimble. Anyway, I think it's an episode, Andrew. You want to give some social
certainly
media
is.
information? Tell people to join our Discord.
Yeah, we'll actually do it this time.
That's what you did it last time. It's at the end of the 18 minutes of silence. Yeah.
It is. It's the. And I was just talking really quietly. It is. Yeah. So yeah, you should come join our Discord. It's fun. And we post. I'll try to remember to post like these cars after the fact that we do in Craig. We try not to. We don't want to post them right away because we want to let you guys enjoy the episode. But occasionally, if I remember, I'll post them afterwards. Usually, I end up just posting like the also rans.
Yeah.
Because they're usually pretty good. So yeah, come join the Discord, and you can follow us on Facebook if you still use Facebook. Off Topic Podcast. Definitely still on Instagram. Off Topic, and Off Topic on Threads. I am Ray Snager on Instagram and Threads, and Brad, where can they find
They
you?
can find me on pretty much just Instagram these days. I've kind of started the Threads thing. Kind of went away. Maybe I'll try it again. But anyway, it's the same name either place. TSI SS 350.
Scale
Oh,
Autocast.
yeah, also find us on Scale Autocast. I did forget that. Yep. On Instagram.
Yeah. We're gonna put some stuff up there. We're gonna do another episode of that
for
too.
sure. I just picked up
Anyways.
the new Auto World Mitsubishi Eclipse today. So
I know. I saw that. I'm a little jealous. I haven't. Mine hasn't come in yet. So, and I got a bunch of new stuff, and I got to build some kits. Just haven't been up to it.
currently working on some right now. Well, not right now, but you know what I mean.
I'm gonna do a couple more of those Fujimi snap kits or the
Aoshima.
Aoshima ones. Yeah, just to get myself back into it. But anyways, is there
I think
anything
that's
else,
it.
Brad? All right, cool. So as always, keep cars analog and aim the roses.